Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we're looking at test footage, but this wasn't me testing a new camera. I'd already shot a feature film on this camera before. What I'm testing is aspect ratios as it pertains to the landscape where I'm filming. You see, this landscape is of the Casco Bay region of the state of Maine. Basically my home state, my hometown, my home region. This is where I'm from, but I haven't lived here in 20 years, and therefore I haven't been making films here in 20 years. I've come off and on throughout the past 20 years to grab footage with whatever the latest camera was that I was working with, but I've never actually hunkered down and done a project here since I've lived here. The last project I made here was in 2002. Back then, I was shooting on mini DV. And of course, as you probably know, if you're a filmmaker, those old mini DV cameras, as awesome as they weren't cinema. And so to make them look cinematic, I often cropped my footage to imitate a 2:3:5 aspect ratio. And it worked to some extent. A lot of people thought that my compositions looked really professional, except deep down I know that really I was just losing quality, and it really just felt like imitation to me. After I moved to New York and I sort of grew as a filmmaker in parallel with the proliferation of high definition technology, I learned to embrace the 1:8:5 aspect ratio, or the 1:7:7, which is essentially 16:9. Because New York has a completely different landscape, it's really easy to frame everything in New York in that taller 1:7:7 aspect ratio than it is to frame, a flatter region like the Casco Bay region. And so what I decided for this upcoming project that I have, I'm supposed to make this movie in the area next autumn. And I decided last year when I went back to bring my camera package and shoot some test footage, because I wanted to experiment with how to frame my home state in different aspect ratios. And so I cycled through a bunch of them, but mainly focusing on either 1:8:5 or 2:3:9, since those are the two primary aspect ratios for North American cinema. And I think I'm going to settle on 2:3:9 for the project next autumn. Of course, I will shoot open matte, doing everything I can to preserve the full sensor data just in case I change my mind. But I am absolutely going to aim to frame everything in 2:3:9 because I just really love how Casco Bay looks in that super wide framing. And since I am shooting in 6K resolution, unlike those old mini DV movies, I'm really not going to be losing anything since we're mastering in 4K anyway. With that said, I've not officially announced this particular project. I know I've been talking a lot about the Monster movie, which starts production this summer and will go on for the next couple of years, but the production I'm talking about is a completely different animal. That's being done in 1 month's time at some point in next autumn. I'm not going to tell you when we're shooting because I like to play everything close to the chest. However, I will tell you it's a movie called 43 Degrees North, and I'm currently in the process of casting that movie. Everything with that movie, for the most part, is ready to go. And so, really, this is just sort of the final. I need to make a decision on how I'm going to shoot this movie and what the visual aesthetic is going to be, and that way I don't have to think about it anymore. When we go into production, I know what I'm doing. And so, I'm announcing it today. I'm making a movie next autumn called 43 Degrees North. It'll be my first movie in Maine since I left 20 years ago, and I'm very excited about it. I'm also excited that I get to come back after the invention of digital cinema to be able to shoot this thing in 6K resolution in real digital cinema technology with prime cine lenses. For the first time ever, I'm going to be able to document my home region the way I've always wanted to. And I cannot wait for you guys to see this. Thanks, everybody.